Dear Captain Gautone, as per our previous discussion, I believe we are running out of time to launch a proper exploratory mission into the northeastern dig site 1890. Per the enclosed eyewitness reports I've gathered over the last several months, the confirmed active Androphin equipment alone merits the budget, manpower, and requisitions that I have detailed. The artifacts these Kellids have described, they match anything we've seen outside of the Silver Mount itself, and the rumors that artifacts from Androffa's ancient contemporaries may be present. I think, if you weigh the sheer volume of the testimony, you'll have no choice but to agree with my hypothesis. I implore you to take the time to review these materials in detail, Captain. They make my case far better than I ever could. Because of the activity patterns I've been able to discern in the area, along with an increase in the geographical dispersal of the outsider sightings, it seems safe to say that the dig site is only growing more active. We cannot risk this place drawing the attention of the armies at the World Room before the League is able to make a proper effort. Indeed, before we control the dig and retrieve these treasures for ourselves. Treasures they could never hope to fully understand like we could. It would be one of history's great tragedies. What these artifacts represent is an entirely unique developmental timeline, completely independent of the Androphins we study today, and yet at least as impressive, and possibly free of any of the more political baggage attached to Androphin dig sites. It is simply imperative, if we are to maintain technological superiority over our rivals, to say nothing of the national defense of Numeria itself from the extremely dangerous parties all around us. At the very least, Captain, this is a golden opportunity for you to gain a leg up within the League itself. I apologize if I speak above my station, but our dear leader Zidao, and our nearly as dear former leader, the Winter Witch, gained much of their power after some fortuitous trips into the Mount. This dig could be our Silver Mount, Captain. I believe the resources I have requested, though expansive, are more than justified, given the potential rewards of a successful mission. I await your answer. Humbly yours, Lieutenant Aberdeen Therace.
Against the machine.
Welcome back to Pod Against the Machine, the only Pathfinder actual play podcast that has to go back! That was a lost reference. I couldn't do an impression, though. Thought I would have it in the moment. It just didn't.
Kate! We have to go back. It's just awful. Hello.
Wall. That dog that was in it. Vincent, that's the dog's name.
Poor Vincent.
So wait, I thought it was a Back to the Future reference. Is that made me the most ancient? I was about to say. I was like, oh, yes, of course. We have to go back, Marty. And then I'm like, oh, geez, I'm 49 or something.
Last week on the podcast, the party gathered up the remains of their fallen comrade, the remains of the person that they were looking for, and some of the remains of the guy who made the aforementioned friend into remains, and also all their stuff, and brought him back to Eidenvey, where they talked to Brother Derviach, who was a bit hesitant to bring Brixby back from the dead, but he did it. And Brixby came back, and he revealed to the party something that's been weighing on him for a long time, that when he fell in that hole with his brother Fof, it was actually the other way around. He was Fof, and Brixby was the brother who was left in the hole, and now he's back. And we're in the meeting hall, everyone's standing around awkwardly. We've got 2 fairly recently revived PCs who both feel pretty bad, but the party knows that they have to go back to the Choking Tower to finish off Firkus Shoud, for the good of the world, really. And they've also got a bag full of stuff that they grabbed before rushing out of the tower, which they haven't had a chance to look at because there was something slightly more pressing. And that's where we are now.
So I assume Brix wants to take a nap.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm feeling pretty tired. I'm also feeling like if I go to sleep and I wake up, I lose my level 5 spells, too. I don't know why I feel that, but I intrinsically know it.
Can you cast Technomancy again before you lose them? I don't think that's level 5.
It's a level 1 spell.
Oh,
and yes, I can do that.
I was going to say, there's a lot of cool stuff that we haven't looked at yet, but if that's not a spell slot you're worried about, I suppose we could rest first.
Nah, I mean, we could Technomancy right now. I've actually got that prepared.
Now, question. It could just be because I have 10 million spell slots because of the class I am, but does it take away a spell slot?
So it's like, it's a little bit different for prepared casters, like, because I'm an effective spellcaster level 9 right now. I can't with my rogue level, so I'm technically an effective spellcaster level 8, but have the magical knack and whatnot. So I am below the point where I can prepare them again for an week. So it's a little different also, for you guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say it could also be a thing that mine has, like that I have less slots and I just don't notice because I have 10 zillion slots. I only have like 4 spells, but I have a million slots to cast them with.
Yeah, I like triple checked. I found like the James Jacob. I went into the Paizo Discord. I asked all of the questions. I went to the mountains. Never mind. I'm not going to go into the Indigo Girls song, but I mean, again, Barbie was such a fantastic movie. For those who haven't seen it, please do.
So yeah, Asher would say, do we want to go back to High Home or to the Moth's Cavern? I mean, we could just sit here in front of Brother Derviach and start pulling things out of the bag, but it may not be the ideal location.
Maybe we go back to the cavern, Long Dreamer's house. I don't want her to have to wait for us. And it's the closest to the tower. If everyone's okay with that, I think we should maybe go back with her and spend the night there.
Whatever you say.
Them, and spend the night there.
Sounds like a plan.
What color is Long Dreamer?
Long Dreamer is like a glowy blue, kind of phosphorescent, multicolor creature of pure wonderment.
Okay, so not the same moth, possibly.
Yeah, but maybe let's get out of here. We can look at this stuff when we're at Long Dreamer's cave.
Right. It's a way to a cave.
So we have this cool scene where, like, how the bat signal spins, but it's a moth symbol, and then we're just like at the cavern. Moth Wipe.
Moth Wipe.
You head out of town. Hitch a ride on the Moth, who is definitely happy to see Brixby, walking around again after the sad interlude where he was pretty brief for her, at least, that he was dead, but he was still dead for a bit. And then she'll land you in her grove, and you've slept here a few nights before, I think. The deal is familiar.
So we've got this, like, tech armor, gun of some kind, and then this globe thingy.
So Brixby's going to take out some oil and, like, pool it in the cup of his hand, and then take a bunch of wires and stir it, which is the material component for technomancy, and cast that, which gives him 27 rounds of a +10 to my knowledge engineering checks for item properties. So, let's roll some engineero. Not expect to roll.
Right.
So I'll just, I don't know if you want me to roll one or multiple. So add 10 to that. So that's a 43.
I think we can be content with with the one roll with the 43. So first off, that suit of armor probably looks a little bit familiar by now. I mean, you know a Scatterlight suit when you see it, except that this is a cut above. This is a blue Scatterlight suit, which is well, you know, Scatterlight suits kind of suck, except that they give you a bonus to touch AC against beam weapons and rays, and in the case of a blue Scatterlight suit, that's a +7 to touch AC, if anybody's interested in a very specific bonus.
Now, does that work against, like, the sonic guns, too, that every robot we've seen to fight lately has?
Maybe. I don't remember, probably. Let me...
I was gonna say, like, we haven't really run into lasers since, like, I think Hellions place, but we've run into a lot of sonic weapons. Like that big ED-209 thing had a sonic weapon. This guy had a sonic weapon. I feel like, didn't the androids have something sonic-y?
We've seen some guns, too. What's the arcane spell failure on this thing?
I don't remember. Let me see.
Alright, we can look it up later.
I think it's pretty low on those.
It's like 5 or 10.
Ooh. At like 5, it's almost worth it, because that's the same level of like rolling a 1 on a nat 20.
Yeah, it's 5.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's pretty low, because Hal has a Scatterlight suit.
Oh yeah, and like we can't sell it here anyway. We can just hold on to it for now. But like, I mean, if anyone wants to wear it, they can def wear it. Brix does not need it. I was just thinking that you could also wear it, because I was considering your arcane spell failure chance as well. Your oracle doesn't matter. But...
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, Alwyn would still be able to use half his spells without even having to roll that.
Mm-hmm. And also a 1 in 20 chance of spell failure is almost better than an attack roll.
Yeah.
So, you know. Anyway, so just something to consider.
Yeah.
So this is one of those Scatterlight suits. It can deflect the lasers and the beams and whatnot.
And the gun that you found is fairly familiar. I think you've got one of these, but not as good. This is an EMP pistol, but this one is a +2. If you remember, an EMP pistol shoots an electromagnetic beam that can't harm living creatures, but is pretty rough on robots. It does 2d6 electricity damage to robots, or anything with cybernetic implants takes half damage, and a crit can stagger those robots and whatnot. This also has an additional item on it. It has a laser sight attached to it. Now, a laser sight is a small cylindrical device that can be attached to the barrel of any firearm. When activated, it emits a low-power laser beam that paints a small red dot on the target. This effect grants the user a +1 circumstance bonus on all attack rolls made with the weapon. Further, a laser sight reduces the penalty for firing into melee by 2. So, it's not a bad little thing. It's a pretty rare bonus, I think.
Yeah. Is that like you activate it and it's on for just the round? How does that play out?
1 charge per hour.
So sweet.
Kind of disappointed it doesn't have an intimidation bonus for like the action movie trope where you just like
forehead.
exactly right, where if you put the dot on somebody you get a +2 to demoralize so we can corn dog smash them. But
well, sadly there's like a loss in the sort of culture translation, because they just don't recognize what that dot is. They haven't seen like various movies with snipers in them. The other remaining technological item, it looks like a small recording device attached to this globe that appears to be kind of part of that robot that was in the final lab. It looks like maybe this is where it was depositing whatever it was that it was harvesting. So there is some strange green mist inside it, and there is a button on it and a little speaker. You know, in case anybody's interested in that sort of thing.
Here, the mist is her nanobots from her brain. If it sucked that out of her. Like, that's her actual thoughts.
Or
Shall we press play?
kind of get that impression that we press this button and we're going to be able to see something, and I really want to push this button, but I can wait until we identify magic stuff.
It's like when you touch the pillars in the Forgotten City in Wheel of Time and you can see your ancestors' memories.
Exactly like that. Maybe, you assume. And we've got magical items to identify as well, if anybody wants to roll spellcraft on those.
So wait, we don't know its name with a 43?
It is one of these things that is just written in the book and doesn't have a name. This is an item that exists for the one specific purpose of having a button that you can press.
It's a harvester silo. That's a harvest sphere. There we go.
It's a thoughty ball.
It's I believe it says on the label right here, thoughty ball. It's a, I mean, the translation, there might be like an accent in there I'm not getting, or like a macron that just like didn't translate with the text. But thoughty ball? Thoughty. Anyway, you brought me back. You asked for this.
Looking over the magical side of things, Alwyn gets a 31 on his spellcraft.
Nice.
Not too shabby. We'll start with the most common thing. You're looking at a Cloak of Resistance +2. That's always fun. There's also a Ring of Minor Fire Resistance, if anybody's interested in that sort of thing. Now, the goggles are goggles of minute seeing. Now, the lenses of this item are made of a special crystal, its bands woven in tiny patterns of metallic thread, almost invisible to the naked eye. When placed over the eyes of the wearer, these lenses enable her to see much better than normal at a distance of 1 foot or less, granting her a +5 competence bonus on disabled device checks. So, it's a fun little thing.
Wow.
And then
Well, I wonder who will wear these.
So you've got the V-Mons on your forehead. They don't do anything. And you got the glasses.
I like the idea of putting swim goggles or like ski goggles over glasses, so I just look like a terrible Oakley commercial or something.
Just put the strap on it so you can have them like hanging around your neck, and then when you need to, you can flip one up and put them on the ears. It'll be great. It's a good look.
Yeah, but these goggles of minute seeing are very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anything gives me a competence bonus. I don't know. I mean, possibly. I think I have like I might have Masterwork Thieves tools that I think also provide.
That might be circumstance.
Jibby jobby.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think Thieves' tools are circumstance, aren't they? Because they're an item.
I'm gonna check. Circumstance. You're
crafting item.
Totally
Yeah.
right. Yeah, look at y'all.
Yeah, because I know like blacksmith's tools it's circumstance, and I figure Thieves' tools would probably be similar.
Sadly, there's going to be no more locks for the rest of the AP, though. Or devices.
I'm okay with that.
I'm fine with that.
You want me to disable no devices? I say okay.
Let's see. The next thing we've got is the other ring. Is a ring of force fangs. I was pretty sad I didn't get to use this. Pause for dogs. This is a band that negates any force spell or spell-like ability targeted at the wearer. Doing so gives the ring a number of charges equal to the spell level of the incoming force effect. The ring can hold a maximum of 9 charges. If an incoming force attack would charge the ring beyond the limit, the ring does not negate the attack or gain charges, but rather, the spell just happens. On command, the wearer can use the ring's charges to cast Magic Missile, unleashing 1 missile per charge, but no more than 5 per round. I just wanted somebody to Magic really Missile Furcus so he could suck him up.
So his ghost gets to use the equipment his body is wearing? Oh.
Yeah, both of those rings are fun. I'm trying to think about let's just have a little chatty do while we're thinking about it. I feel like Brix isn't really a recipient of either of those in my opinion. I think that
I feel like the second one should go to whoever we think's going to get attacked the most, because that's the person that would benefit it, right? That should probably go to one of the frontliners.
I almost feel like both should go to frontliners, because I feel like fire absorption or resistance or whatever that ring is, what is that, knocking off 5 or something of every fire attack? Yeah. Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't know if that stacks with some of you outsiders.
Mine does not do. Fire is the only one mine doesn't do, which I kicked myself over because I would have survived the oven with, because it only killed me by 3, and mine does, and it does 5 when you have them. And so, fire is the one that mine doesn't do.
Yeah, I mean, I take Brix out of the running for both of these.
Yeah. But I still agree it should go to a frontliner anyway. Because
I would almost put you in the running for the fire ring just because of the way that you died.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's up to Brixby is out of. He's stoked with his goggles. I think that the rings should go to somebody else.
Yeah, like that catch and return force ring definitely needs to go to either Izzy or Asher. I almost wonder, because I feel like Kira's up close in the punchy. I think the force ring would be better with Asher because he's dealing damage and he's far enough away that magic missile is, I feel like, is going to be something that might target him more often.
What's the other force? Because I know there's wall of force, but that isn't obviously an offensive spell. There isn't a Big B's hand analog, is there? I'm trying to think about
there is some kind of forced hand.
It's force bolt and other stuff. But...
Oh, okay, yeah. I was just trying to think about what else. Because I mean,
there is a spell that makes a big invisible hand that punches you, and I can't think of what it's called because it's on my spell list.
I was just trying to think about...
And that is force damage.
Yeah, I was trying to think about what common force damage we run into. Ring of the Ram is force damage, but that's always a PC item. I feel like I have...
Yeah.
Despite how many times we've taken it off the bodies of dead enemies, I don't think I've actually been ram ringed.
Yeah. I think it's because usually the enemies have better things they can do with their turn than use it.
Well, and that's kind of the trap.
It's more of a utility thing, yeah.
Does Asher's fire resistance stack with
Asher doesn't have fire resistance. Yeah.
So that puts both. I would say literally the 3 of you are in the running for the fire ring, because I would say it's the frontliners plus the person who died by fire.
So right now, Asher already has 2 rings with the Ring of Protection and the Ring of the Ram. I think, you can have more than 2 on and decide which ones are active. So he could just be blinging it.
Which ones use, yeah.
He's also, I don't know if anyone else has a second ring already. Might be easier for K-Money or A-Dog.
I only have protection. I only have a Ring of Protection. I will say, though, I very much want that Cloak of Resistance because my classes are split in 3. All of my
it'll double your fort
saves are terrible.
Saves suck. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, what is your current fort save?
My current fort save at my still -1 level is a +4.
Oof. I mean, granted, Brix is that's his lowest save. He's at a +5, but I would imagine my reflex is significantly better than yours.
Yeah. My reflex is my highest, but it's still only a 6.
Oh yeah, mine's a 9 with my negative level 10 without it.
My real bad one, because of one of my sorcerer ones, the same one actually that lets me control robot brains, also causes me to have very bad will. So my will is only a +3.
Oh my god! Yes, please take the. I mean, not to speak on behalf of the party, but please take the -2 because, I feel like Kira has a better will save than you do.
Yeah.
Oh, no, buddy. When our
my will is, that's why I failed the first half of that. So bad.
Phantasmal Killer.
Yeah. He basically. I don't think he can pass the first half of Phantasmal Killer.
Not if you're rolling on roll 20.
Okay, so no time has passed. That wand you found is a wand of cure serious wounds.
Oh,
those
nice.
never come in handy. 22 charges on that bad non-gendered creature. And then the last item is a rod of gripping smoke. Now, one half of this rod is made of a gray semi-solid fog, while the other half glows from within as if filled with flickering embers. It acts as a +1 ghost touch light mace, but 3 times a day, as the wielder casts a spell that creates fog or smoke, it can make the effect particularly cloying, causing the area of the spell to count as difficult terrain. It can't modify fog or smoke spells that already specifically impede movement. Additionally, 3 times per day as a move action, the wielder of the rod can point the rod at a single target within an area of fog, mist, or smoke within 60 feet, including in fog-like spells like Cloud Kill or Incendiary Fog, and cause the vapor to tighten around the target, attempting a disarm, grapple, or steal combat maneuver against them.
Well, that is awesome. I feel like none of us will ever use that, so it's probably just going to be sold, but it is very cool.
But it's so cool.
I do have Obscuring Mist, Euphoric Cloud, Fog Cloud, Stinking Cloud, Solid Fog, Cloud Kill, Acid Fog, and Guards and Wards. Thank you, Furcus.
I thought, though, that wasn't that like your opposing school or whatever?
Only
so
for
great?
No, that 1 points for remembering. 2, Obscuring Mist is the only one that's water elemental. No, I guess Fog Cloud is
nice.
too.
Okay.
But the rest of them, like Stinking Cloud, Solid Fog is too. But Cloud Kill, oh wow, that's water elemental as well. Okay, so Acid Fog, Stinking Cloud, and Euphoric.
I can't believe
Cloud.
Stinking Cloud isn't, but Cloud Kill is. That's weird.
Yeah,
Cloud
it's
Kill,
weird.
Isn't that basically just a stronger version of Stinking Cloud?
No, it is odd. Cloud Kill is a conjuration water elemental, whereas Stinking Cloud is an earth elemental because it's which is odd because like Stinking Cloud,
I guess
because
it's like sulfur,
Cloud
maybe.
Kill is also poison. Yeah, and I mean, so it's. I would agree. It's. I mean, how many times? So I mean, it's almost. I would agree with you. It's almost worth like selling. Also, it's like so Furcus. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things. It's like you've got some like a really comfortable shirt from an ex-partner, but when you wear it, you're just like, oh, this is like so them. Yeah.
Please, someone meme like "That's So Raven" into a "That's So Furcus."
So Furcus.
It's certainly not worth 15,000 gold or anything, if that tips the scales.
Ooh, daddy.
They do be tipped.
Yeah, no. Screw those fogs, because I mean that's really the thing that I feel like we run into, where it's like any of you 3 can benefit very heavily from the like fire resistance. But how many of you want to give up the action economy to shoot back magic missiles? Because that's the weird thing, right? Like Kira might get hit by the most amount of magic missiles, but in any round where we're asking them to do 5d4 versus like what they do with a freaking chainsaw is like it's one of those things where it's like it sounds cool, but then it just kind of gets like leveled out. You know what I mean? Like our like abilities kind of, but at the same time, you know, it's an auto hit. So I think someone should wear it if they only have 1 ring on, because what do we have to lose, right?
If we don't have to sell it, I could see there being use cases where, for one, Asher's not a long range character, and Magic Missile's range is very long. And then there's other things where, like if it has DR that for some reason I can't bypass, that force damage, that 1d4 plus 1 on each bolt could be more than I punch through.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
And I mean, even just blocking the damage is nice too. That half of it, like there's literally an amulet that just only does that half and doesn't even do the send it back half.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, the amulet is shield or whatever. Yeah, no, I mean that is true. It does have a defensive element, and that is a good point, Jeff. Because I think that like I have just such like derision for like magic missile that isn't a dazing spell meta magic. You know what I mean? Because that's the meme, right? You put like a dazing spell meta magic on that, and it's beautiful.
Or toppling.
Or toppling. Yeah. Trips or days, like doesn't matter. It's like a +4 spell like increase, but that's worth a level 5. But I can't cast level 5 spells.
Imagine casting such powerful spells.
I can't because I only could for a portion of an episode. All right, so who wants this cloak?
I wouldn't mind taking that if it's okay with everyone else.
Go with me.
Yeah,
By
you're
all
very
means.
squishy.
Yeah. I have a 1. We all have 1s already, though, right? Nobody needs a 1. Okay.
Like, this is kind of a stupid question, but I've worked more with animal companions. Like, Kingsley can't wear a robe. Okay, that's what I thought.
They do. They are wondrous items, which means they do resize.
I wasn't sure.
I don't think
because I know that like
that
with
stuff,
animal.
no.
Yeah, I think because they're like technically a magic thing, like figment that also is an animal.
Yeah, they effectively count as like part of the person whose familiar they are, I think.
That makes sense. Yeah, that is the important distinguishing factor between them and ACs. Okay, so cool.
What we're saying is it could fit kings. It just wouldn't provide any mechanical benefit, but it could look
Yeah, it'd be
cute.
super
It
cute.
would look amazing. So we're just gonna put that on.
I'm gonna slip
Do
that
we
on.
really need like what is it like 1,000 gold? Like who really needs 1,000 gold?
And technically, we only get 500 because you only get half.
Right? This is worth 500 gold every time I look at them.
Yeah.
The fan art of like the bow tie and then now the cape. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just printing money.
So you have identified all of the items at this point. There's a copy of Mortal Kombat and
Goggles may robe you. So we've got one ring that is less fire. I don't want either of these, by the way. We've got one ring that's less fire. We've got one ring that absorbs, well, I probably shouldn't shoot off a magic missile inside of Long Dreamer's ass, but like that kind of like force thing. Who wants what?
That is the best idea for using spell slots at the end of the day. Just make sure that ring do be topped off.
just charge it up.
I know. The idea of go stand over
Fire
there
magic
while I
missiles
just,
into it.
Yeah. It's not a bad idea.
Oh. Also, Sam just said, apparently, according to the book, the robbed of gripping smoke is a next slot item.
What?
I think,
What?
I think that's a weird typo, but yeah, in the book.
Yeah, it's a typo. Yeah.
Tuck it under your chin.
There's probably like a drop
light
down
mace.
when they're creating those things for them, and they click neck instead of hand.
Or it's on like maybe like a beaded choker, perhaps, or like a
Makes
maybe
sense.
like
The
a
choking
puka.
tower.
Oh yeah, or like a puka shell choker with the ring on. All right, now that is canon. It's puka shell necklace with the rod.
With the
So
rod
cute.
hanging off it.
Peak
That's why it's
fashion.
worth so much. It's really a statement piece.
How many rings is Kira wearing?
One.
Did we say just one? So does she want the fire?
I can take a fire ring, sure. Hugely indifferent. I don't need more things, remember? So, if there's at all anyone else who could use it, go for it.
I mean, you get hit a lot, and if you get hit by fire, which a lot of these robots can do, they can take 5 off of every time they hit you, which is pretty cool. And even with your, like, I don't want anything cool for Kira, you can at least justify it by that's 5 more points every time that you can absorb on behalf of your squishy party. So if you have to do it from that angle, please accept this ring.
I'll allow it. Just gonna add a new magic ring to my items.
With this ring,
Yes.
Ooh, that's solid. That's the name of the episode.
Alan will probably take the wand.
This episode is just, the whole description is alternate episode names. I think it's
The episode where the entire party gets married. That's it. I come back from the dead, I'm like, we all need to get married. Don't ask me why. Pharasma said it was very important.
The wand. I think Alwyn will take the wand, but he's just gonna put it in his pack. He's not going to put it in one of his sheets because I have so many spell slots of that, and the 2 that I currently have in my sheets, at least until they run out, one of them only has like 4 left, but they're both better mid-combat, so it's just gonna be in his pack for downtime healing.
Bolt and Gust of Wind? Were those the 2?
Yeah, Lightning Bolt and Gust of Wind. Yeah, Lightning Bolt only has 4 charges left, so that's going to be out of there pretty soon. But
the other ring, the Force ring, is that going to you or Jeff?
I think we decided it was good with Asher, because he can turn off the Ring of the Ram until he needs it and just kind of leave the Force ring on.
Sure, I'm not accustomed to wearing so many accessories, but I can figure out how to get used to it, not interfering with, twirling and reloading, pew-pew. All right.
Asher would absolutely be willing to give you the Ring of the Ram. It only has 9 charges left, but considering if Brixbo ever has spare magic missiles to charge up the Ring of Force Fang, which is one word for those of you looking to find the item, on Archives of Nethys, then yeah, he'll keep that emergency cool magic missile ring that could absorb some stuff that is not thrown by his friendly companion. I guess that's the balance, right? If I have Bricks top it off every day, and then I get hit with an actual magic missile that doesn't absorb it. I mean, I'm happy to top it off anytime you want to, because I can absolutely always spare a couple like level 1 spell slots. We can figure it out. But yeah, I mean, I feel like that would be a cool, interstitial, like between having the appropriate ammunition to affect somebody kind of. All right, so Force Ring to Asher, Cloak and Wand to Alwyn, other ring of fire resistance to Kira, goggles to Brixby. So that only leaves the video sphere, right? To watch.
Please push the button now. I've been very patient. It's been a long day. Sometimes you just want to kick back, put up your feet, watch the sphere.
Alright, so Brixby's going to hold the sphere. You all can press the button. You really, just all together, just press the button.
Boop.
The rock, parchment, dagger for it.
I think when you press the button, there is disappointingly no video that appears. Instead, you sort of get a few seconds of silence, and then a voice comes out, and it's kind of a tinny, feminine voice, and it says,
I'm not sure what you mean. I'm Cassandra, an android and a fugitive from my own faith.
And then there's like a pause, almost like there's a conversation going on, but you're only getting one side of it. And then she comes back. Because I betrayed my god Unity, and it sent puppets to punish me, to prevent me from warning others of its plans. Those puppets slew me, but I rested well, knowing I had managed to travel far enough that Unity's influence over them had lapsed. They slew me, but in doing this so far away from their master, they doomed themselves. And it pauses again and continues.
Unity was my god. Unity spoke to my soul, and I could perform magic through my faith. I worshipped Unity totally until I discovered the truth. That it was also a slaver, a sadist, and a petulant lunatic.
There's another pause, and then, because I learned of Unity's evil nature and its dark plans for the world, I would not help an intelligence such as it escape its bonds. I forsook my faith and fled. And one more pause, and then, my knowledge is recorded on a neurocam I hid during my flight from Unity. I hid this neurocam in a cave in a Y-shaped valley many days' walk northeast of the foundry where I was killed. Local tribes have long called this place the Scar of the Spider. Another pause, and then...
It is a god within the subtle mount, and it rules over all within. But it is not content to rule a single wreck. It wants more. It wants to rule us all.
And then the button kind of pops back out, and the recording ends.
What I took from that is that Cassandra Lee was some sort of devotee to Unity. Unity was evil. Unity wanted to rule us all. And Unity lives inside the mount.
So that's all of it.
I was like, is that where the dot is?
Let me look at the map.
Oh, maybe it's going to that and not to her.
Because we found her.
Yeah. Yeah, so
And
the
my
thing being tracked
question
was
was,
the
can we
neurotrip.
roll anything on the Scar of the Spider?
Yeah, I could do a Nat Geo.
Nat Geo?
Northeast of the foundry where she was killed. Many days walk, Y-shaped valley. Northeast. Dot. Tracker.
I'm going to aid Jeff's Nat Geo roll with a 17.
That's actually probably a good idea.
Roll.
So I didn't say it out loud yet. Can I count my one that I rolled as an 8, or should I re-roll to keep myself honest?
I would say count your one as an 8. Don't re-roll.
So that was a 13 then, so it's an 8.
Okay, I do have a correction looking at a map of Numeria. The book is wrong. The Scar of the Spider...
It turns out the Scar of the Spider is a next slot item.
It is a next slot item. It is also to the northwest of the wreck where Cassandra Lee was found, not to the northeast. The dot, however, is to the northeast.
Dang it. Well,
Really
Scar of the
interesting what heck this
Spider.
dot is.
Asher only got a 15, which is less than Brixby's aid, but the 2 aids bring it up to a 19. Yay.
I think the Scar of the Spider is not something that you're super familiar with. I think maybe there's just like you've heard it mentioned as a place inside the Feldales area of Numeria, which is kind of a place that people don't really go.
It's like the northwestern part of Numeria,
Yeah.
right? Like, isn't that kind of... It's near the Sarkoris border, if I remember correctly, or like kind of...
Yeah, it's near the border with where their old capital used to be. Yeah.
Yeah, the Feldales is one of the major regions of Numeria, and it's kind of the most wastelandy of of the wasteland that is Numeria. There's, more wandering creatures, mutated and wandering, bashed up robots, and there's like a thin strip of arable land along the western side of the Selin River, and then there's very few like sizable human bits of civilization or settlements for like a big chunk of the country, because it's just very hostile.
Asher would share what little he knows then about that.
Well, a little disappointed there's no video, but that was interesting and informative. I am concerned. We thought Hellion was a large threat, and Hellion feared unity. Cassandra feared unity. I think we need to seek out this neurocam after we rid the world of Fergus Shoud once and for all.
Agreed. We owe it to Long Dreamer and all the denizens of the area to rid that hate, that pain from their land.
And Long Dreamer has just been kind of chilling off to the side as quietly and out of the way as a gigantic glowing moth can be in a rather enclosed place.
So, perhaps we rest tonight, head back to the tower, and from there we head to the northwest. Or should we follow the dot to the northeast?
We've been waiting to see what that dot is for a pretty long time.
I mean, it sounds that the neurocam is well hidden, so the odds of it being discovered are probably rather small. We know now that the Technic League won't be getting to Cassandra before we did. And so long as we maintain ownership of this thoughty ball, then her secrets live only in our minds and the soon-to-be very late Fergus Shoud. We could examine the dot after the tower.
What of Cassandra? Do you think we could fix her?
I'm inclined to think that someday we might be able to put our heads together and see how we can put her head back together. Or perhaps if we think it would be beneficial to have another ally in the fight, we could, though I certainly don't want to tax Brother Derviach, see if the cleric couldn't return her spirit to her body.
Do we know anything about, like, rezzing androids? Is it comparable to, like, the raised dead, resurrection, soul situation? Or is it something else?
I think you know enough about them, like, effectively having souls, and even though their bodies are artificial, they're, like, live much the same way as organic life forms. That stuff like raised dead probably does work on them, but at the same time, you know she's been dead for multiple years. You don't know exactly how long, but at least longer than it was since Fergus found her body, and I think you scouted that out as around 7 years ago. So it's been a while, so it would take powerful magic to bring her back, if her soul hasn't already been judged and moved on in the boneyard.
So perhaps we rest tonight. We do the tower tomorrow. From there, follow Dot. And, well, we bring her with us in the bag. And hopefully we can bring her back, find her soul from the same void that they found mine.
Oh, is the party going to bed for the night then?
I think so.
I think you've done this before, and you know, Long Dreamer, being a strange divine being, doesn't really function the same way biologically, and she can effectively keep watch for the lot of you for the night. You don't have to worry about taking shifts, and you all get the sort of double rest benefit from sleeping in her presence and better dreams and all that good stuff.
I will say, before we sleep, Alwyn will use up as many of his slots as he needs to heal everybody, because he used like almost no spells during that fight because he spent the entire time casting Wind Wand. So I'm pretty sure I can get everybody to full.
Excellent, thank you.
But how much charging of the Ring of Force Fangs do you do? That's the real question.
I have, unfortunately, only one magic missile prepared today, and I have already used my amulet to cast Dimensional Anchor. So, reasonably, I can only shoot one magic missile at my friend.
Stand over there. Right.
All right. And it just kind of...
Draw! And then...
Yeah.
Pew, pew. And then Asher shoots me. I die.
Completely misinterpreting the game.
Sorry, habit.
Right, we got to sell the rod.
Were there any charges in the ring already, or should I assume it was 0?
It was nothing listed, so probably 0.
Yeah.
All right.
Unfortunately, it was all 9, so the one that cast just hits you in the
Yeah,
face.
it hits you,
Oh,
and right
come
between
on.
the eyes. So
Awesome. Ring of Force Fangs, 1 charge.
So wait, what defines a charge? Is it every
it's spell
Spell
level.
hits
level.
you? Spell level?
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, I am still a 9th level caster when I cast that spell.
No, it's still just a level 1 spell.
Okay. That's what I figured.
Yeah,
Okay,
unless you
cool,
have
cool,
it
cool.
heightened. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely do not have that feat nor that meta magic. So just 1 spell.
So I think as you all go to bed in the calming and comforting glow of Long Dreamer, and the night, gets darker and quieter, as maybe the forest is a little bit calmer than it has been in quite some time. Late at night, when everybody's had some chance to sleep, I think, Brixby, you might wake up to see Long Dreamer looming over you in her disconcerting, gigantic, mothy way. Just the huge eyes staring down at you.
Hello.
And she'll sort of hold up a hand like she's asking permission to reach out.
And Brixby will reach out his hand to touch Long Dreamer's antenna.
As you make this connection, again, you hear her voice in your head, and she says, I am happy that you are no longer dead.
I suppose I am too. Honestly, I've wanted to be dead less now than I've ever been.
You asked me once about the dreams of the dead. I don't think I understood the question then. I don't think that you understood it either, really. May I have your permission to show you something?
Please.
And her giant, unblinking, glowing eyes are like locked on your face, which, in another situation would be just the scariest thing in the world. But she brings up 2 of these huge hands that just sort of end in like kind of points and furriness, and sort of puts them on either side of Brixby's face, like effectively cupping his head. And then she begins to beat her gigantic wings slowly, and it's not enough force to lift her off the ground or really even create much of a breeze in this tiny space, but it shakes loose this strange luminescent powder from the surface of her wings, and this powder sort of forms little clouds that dance and twirl through the space between Brixby and Long Dreamer until it kind of comes together and settles around Brixby's face. And in an instant, he's back there. He's back in that scene that he described to the party after he came back from the dead. He sees the scrap giving away. He feels himself tumbling down into the hidden tumble deep inside Chitterhome. He hits the ground. Fof hits the ground, and Brixby hits the ground. But this isn't the picture he remembers. His brother is there, just a little ways away from Fof, trapped under a mountain of shifted debris, just like he remembers. But it's obvious from here, even from yards away, that Brixby's gone already. He did not survive that fall. The sheer weight of the scrap on top of him and the position of his body, it wasn't possible. It never was. And you, Fof, Brixby, you feel what you felt in that moment, what you haven't let yourself feel since that day. That in that moment, you shut down, and Fof turned away from his dead brother, and he stumbled through the darkness with no direction and no hope and no will to carry on, and it was over. And Brixby, you can feel now what you felt then, that you lost yourself in that darkness, in that solitude, and stumbling and tripping all the way through the dark until finally, in the solitude and the pain and the hopelessness, you tripped over another body, Forsyth, the first victim of this place, and you collapsed there, and you gave up, and you would have died, to be honest, but instead you fell asleep. To die, to sleep, perchance to dream, for in that sleep of death, what dreams may come. Here, the story shifts. The way we perceive it shifts, because at once we see what Brixby remembers, what he just told the party about. We see past Brixby's laughter as he breaks down Forsyth's notes and he interprets the scrawlings and the plans, and he has this brilliant revelation on the nature of the emergency jump pack and the hope that there just might be a way out of here for both of them. We see Fof's beloved brother, who he's leaned on all his life, being ready to save the day one last time. Ready to fix the mistake that Fof makes that might have doomed them all right there. But at the same time, we can see Fof lying on a pile of scrap and bones in a cavern, asleep and alone, as a strange and luminous chartreuse moth, glowing with that same light, flutters down from parts unknown. Maybe from Forsyth's holy symbol, from that long ago ritual, from the surface, from some undiscovered place beyond death itself. It's impossible to say. This butterfly lands on Fof's nose, and a beat passes, and the Yosoki stands, and he gets to work, all by himself. He breaks down Forsyth's notes, overriding the locks on the escape pods with his own wits and his own hands, even though he hears his brother's voice the whole time. And he does brilliant work that he'd never thought himself capable of before. In the corner of the cavern, under a pile of debris, the original Brixby is silent and motionless and gone. But in this moment, when Fof was ready to give up without his brother, to drive him forward and do what he could not do on his own, he became both of the Rentel brothers, and he didn't even know it. In the dream, Brixby gets Fof out of the cavern. He gives himself up so his brother can live, while he's left behind, alone, in a deep dark hole. But we all see now, as the vision fades, and we come back to the night in the Dreamwood, not the Smokewood. And Brixby is looking up into Long Dreamer's face, that all it took was a dream. Thanks to Forsyth and Brixby and the Song of the Spheres itself, no brother was ever left behind, was never alone in that deep dark hole. Brixby and Fof burst out into the sky together. They're still together today. Fof lives for Brixby, and Brixby lives for Fof.
Oh, I'm crying again. Why? This is... And that's his whole story. Everybody. And now he knows it. I'm so sorry, you little rat. You're so small for all these emotions I'm putting into you. Oh, God.
But it's so happy that he didn't actually leave him behind. Oh,
I know. Let's, we can bring it back into everyone hearing this. Sky Medal for Sam. I don't care that it's going to be used against us. Sky Medal for Sam. We'll read another dedication later. But Sky Medal for Sam, because that is the far better justice to the Brixby story than I could ever do.
So, the giant lunar moth kind of leans back a little bit, gives Brixby a little bit of space to process this.
Brixby's
dream.
doing that sort of cry where you choke, where it's like, and like does his best to cover his mouth to not wake anybody up. The last thing that everyone sees is just a shot down from above as Brix falls back with both of his paws over his mouth like this, just crying, but his eyes have more peace than they've had in ever. And he cries himself to sleep. As all good adventurers do. Oh my God.
As all good adventurers and adventuring parties do, cry yourself to sleep, have a little cry on the Skype call.
Just a casual cry. Everybody's crying. It's cool. We're all cool.
And somehow, inexplicably, morning comes. Just hours later, the world of Galarian has continued to turn, and there's a new day.
Let's get to that tower.
Asher, for his part, he wakes up in the morning like he always does, and doesn't have any misfired guns anymore to fix. So he goes and he starts to do his routine to pray and prepare his limited spells for the day, and finds out that he can't. He does not hear or feel a divine response. And he is kind of troubled about that.
Got this happen. Oh my God. Oh no.
that's worrying.
But he's got a revolver loaded with adamantine rounds and a revolver loaded with ghost salt rounds, just in case Furcus spawns sooner than we think, and he's ready for the tower.
What the hell, man? I don't want you to be cut off from your god. I don't want to cry more. Ah.
All is not necessarily well amongst the reconstructed, very capable floor. If that's what we're calling ourselves now, I don't even know these days, but
I think it's the very not resurrected.
It was just
plus Halloween.
The 4.
The 2 that haven't died plus Alwyn and Brixby. So we still get to maintain our line notation or whatever that's called.
Cool. Let's go to the tower before anything else happens.
Moth, please help my friend.
for heading back into the tower, are you planning on going back to the basement? Are you planning on going straight up to the places you haven't been before? What's the plan of attack here?
You mentioned Brother Duriach was like, it's been 4 days or whatever since Alwyn was brought back. I have been keeping a bad track of days, but are we expecting there to be a possibility of gear ghosts? Like, has it been long enough since they're defeated where theoretically, depending on die roll, they could return?
It's conceivably possible that the gear ghost could be back. Because they died the day after Alwyn, or a couple days after Alan, because you brought him back, and then you had a town day, and then you came back to the tower, and killed the gear ghosts. So they're a few days behind.
Yeah, because that was when we discovered the trap was reset, and then we found them upstairs.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So that was the next day. Yeah.
So depending
it was 2 days later, because we had you're right, we did have the day in between where we went back to town and did stuff.
So depending on RNG, they could be back.
It's possible.
Did we get gear ghosted when we walked in? Like, if we walked through the initial door? I mean, this is maybe just because the people can't see us where we are on Roll20 at home, but did we immediately get...
No, you weren't immediately accosted with traps, and it didn't look like anything was reset immediately upon entering the tower, so you might be gear ghost free.
Still recommend caution. I'm inclined to not return to the basement until we're ready to turn off the smoke furnace, but if the gear ghosts are back, then traps we may have disarmed could be rearmed, and, well, I'd prefer we all remain in one piece.
Brixby flops the goggles over his face and says,
I feel more prepared to protect all of you from whatever machinations Fergus, gear ghosts, or anything else has.
And he casts Arm's focus on himself using the wand.
Asher activates his filter mask.
Let's all do that. Let's all just collectively turn on each other's filter masks as like a form of bonding. Let's all just
reach out and turn on the filter mask of the person
reach
next
out,
to
touch mask. Brr.
And like every morning, Alwyn did cast delay poison on us before we went into the tower.
Mage armor and shield, since we're gonna do the Brixby's buffs. You're gonna mage yourself.
Is
Halloween?
Is Kira holding the null blade now, or is she still primary chainsaw?
Yeah, primary chainsaw. Have at it,
Cool,
buddy.
cool. Still primary revolvers, but null blade on the back then.
Smasher. Any other spells or buffs to declare for anybody? That's all I'm doing for right now.
Kira starts putting black and red stickers everywhere.
Uh-oh.
I think that she's in her hot topic phase.
Oh, no.
How far we have fallen.
The only glitter is all black, maybe some purple, but edgy purple.
Just so lyrics to "I'm Not Okay" by My Chemical Romance on stickers that you're just sticking on things. If you wanted honesty, anyway. I am that old, in case anyone is listening.
What's a Fallout Boy?
So nothing gives you any trouble all the way up through the 7th floor, which is as high as you ever ascended. That was the floor with the animated crane. And the way is clear up to the 8th floor.
So this is the mentioned robot wizards. I want everyone to know that if anybody is close to where we've been, we should leave. We should go. We should escape. It's not that we don't have the resources to bring anybody back, but this is important, but not important enough to take any of you from me. I don't want to take risks if we don't have to. You're all too important to me and this blasted, damned nation.
With that, let's go to the 8th floor, right?
Yeah.
Yay.
Well, the 8th floor is much the same as the floor before it. You come to the top of a stairwell and see directly in front of you a stairwell that goes further up. and then also a doorway that opens into a foyer that has 3 labeled doors in it.
I see one to the west and one to the north. Is there also one here?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So the one to the west is labeled Lab 7, Quasi-Gaseous Research. The one to the north is Lab 8, Swarm Behavior Studies. And the one sort of on the bottom eastern side is Lab 9, Smoke and Particle Research.
That's all the labs that were on the directory, right? That's it? But it still goes up. Okay, cool.
Let's go open some lab doors and smash all of Fergus Shell's favorite pretty things.
Yeah. So what are you all thinking? 7, 8, or 9?
Quasi-gaseous. 8.
8 swarm behavior.
What is 8 again?
8 is swarm, and 9 is smoke.
Swarm behavior.
Smoke and particle.
Smoke. So quasi-gaseous, swarm behavior, or smoke and particle, which all sound like you can't hit me normally.
The guy has
Anyone
a theme.
have a feeling?
He has a strong theme.
Anyone have a feeling about any of these?
We can't hit all of them. I think numerical order is always fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
We all know 7 is the most dangerous lab. Asher says as he spins his revolver. Because 7, 8, 9. And then he'll go to, pull the airlock.
Wait, roinks! Let's roinks!
There's like a 3-turn thing.
No roinks.
I'm not as worried about the outside door.
He
says famously.
It looks like there's actually about enough space in this airlock for everybody to cram in with some squeezing.
And Cleary isn't here right now, so we got plenty of room.
Asher fails to aid.
Does anybody...
Again, only a 1 and 2 could fail.
Well, you have auto aid from Kira.
Fit in there. Is this a real square?
It's enough of a square to squeeze into. We can spare a square.
That is, I actually am able to aid in that case.
You got that right.
It's a 15 for a 13.
All right, that's a 14 for a 35 with my 2 aids and my -1.
Doesn't seem to be trapped. It's the normal kind of lock for airlocks. And you can see through the little window that there's nothing moving around in there. Just a bunch of barrels that are like big barrels up against the north and east side of the room, and there's a desk and looks like bloodstains.
Oh, and I think you should get that wand ready for every room that we're going into. Literally come up here with me, and perhaps ready to goose. Perhaps. I don't know.
What's this one?
Quasi-gas.
Smoke, particle, research, quasi-gas.
Yeah, it definitely get the blowy wand up here.
Yep, he will
Perhaps.
take the wand out and maybe try to squeeze a little bit in front of Kira.
Yeah, let's swarm for comfort.
Oh, actually, I guess I can swarm, yeah. Let's swarm.
Yeah, get in the swarm. Come on in the water swarm.
Alright, we popping the door open.
Yes.
Alright, opening up the door reveals several wooden barrels the size of a human standing upright against the north and east walls of this semi-triangular laboratory. Each barrel is capped with a wooden lid, and the rims of these barrels are crusted with dried blood. A desk near one wall has notes scattered atop it, and strange, almost humanoid-shaped bloodstains adorn the floor in several spots.
Hold on. Let me just
What does my summon intern spell require? Just want to make sure that I have all the...
I deeply feel we should probably send Cleary in to have a quick look before us.
There is... Oh, piece of string and a bit of wood. So he ties a little bit of string around a piece of wood and just throws it in and is like,
Cleary, go! Unpaid intern labor.
Cleary goes into the room, and nothing disturbs them.
This will look really good on your resume.
Could have had him bring the notes back to us.
No, I'm stupid. Death took all my brains, Asher. I just, that would be...
Strangely, nothing springs to attack as you enter this room. It just looks like a empty, dried blood space.
Cleary, my mechanically not, but practically yes, more intelligent friend, it's requested that you bring back those notes to us. Could you grab them and scooch them over here? Don't touch the barrels.
The notes are incomplete and damaged, but Cleary does manage to retrieve a page that says, "Like clouds themselves, but moving with a strange, focused purpose I have not observed in baser swarms. If I could capture one of the worms that walks and determine how the transference of mind from one body to thousands is achieved, perhaps one could do the same with the transference of mind from one body to millions. If I can secure control of bio-nanites as a host body in the same way as my crawling guest controls the worms of his, perhaps I can..." And then it ends.
I can imagine they're writing this while what's his face? I keep wanting to say Nargrin, but it's not Nargrin. It's walking up behind
Nargin Harvex.
what is it? Nargin?
Yeah, Nargin.
Nargin? Yeah.
I just remembered as one who nargs as a central verb there. So he's still nargin down in the basement.
If you want to roll a knowledge arcana, you might be able to glean something of what's gone on in this room.
Love to.
So 34 with a 19 off the die.
It looks like with the human-shaped bloodstains, this room was probably populated with vampiric mists a long time ago that actually starved to death. All that's left of them is dried blood.
Wow. That's cool.
You hate to
This is
see
like-
it.
Yeah. What? They died before we got here?
It's like the joke version of the Monty Hall thing where it's like, behind one door is an executioner and behind the other is a lion that hasn't eaten in 5 years. Which do you pick?
So
Brixby picks up a bit of dried blood and puts it in between his fingers, sniffs it, looks back at the group, and
I am to believe this room contained, do you remember that, mist monster we ran into a couple floors down? It was hungry, right? It was similar to that was in this room, but it looks like it starved to death. This blood, it's an indicator of its passing, oddly enough. Alwyn, do you want to see if Mr. Magoo is in this room, perhaps?
Yeah, but Alwyn will detect magic, and he will kind of walk through the room now that Brixby and Cleary have kind of said that it's not trapped, and just see if he detects magic anywhere in here.
Anticlimactically, Alwyn does not detect any magic in here, as it seems that this lab, of basically all of the labs in the place, just doesn't have anything left in it, other than that little scrap of notes.
It was the lab they had to finish on the last day before they had to turn this book into Paizo.
Like, we've hit the max number of encounters. Just say they're dead already, and then the GM can go to bed. And so, I mean, it says in the book that I have to go to bed now. So, I'm going to bed.
No, we get the experience for those things, right? For killing 3 the mist creatures.
They're only CR3, so
mists.
it wouldn't be that much.
Yeah. Good night, book.
Good night, Sam.
Night, Sam.
Good night, vampiric
Good night,
mist.
quasi-gaseous research.
Against the machine.
Hot Against the Machine is property of Network Against the Machine LLC, all rights reserved. Pathfinder and the Iron Gods Adventure Path are property of Parcel Publishing. See their website for more details. Theme Against the Machine was written and performed by our own Zach. See the show notes for additional music and sound licensing. If you enjoyed the show, we encourage you to leave us a review.
Mr. trying to
Detect magic.
parse that. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I know. Magoo is mad. I know. It took my brain a second to get on. Mr. Magoo. Oh, he says Magoo detect magic.
I've been traveling down a pretty stupid path the past couple weeks here. So
yeah, it was like Maggie, and then it was Magoo, and then it was Magoo. It just took my brain a second to testing.
Hopefully these work.
I mean,
1, 2, 3. 1, 2.
Sad waveforms, but less
Sad
sad. I suppose.
waveforms.
Your wave.
Sad
The second saddest waveforms of the night.
Izzy, I have to ask: are you also eating a Kit Kat?
Eating a cheese square.
Oh, okay.
Would love a Kit Kat, but
I was like, whoa, what kind is that? Because I would love to be the guy who can try all of the obscure Kit Kats.
it's cheddar.
Got one of those things before. I think it was from Bento Box. It was from one of those ones that like mails you a thing.
A Kit Kat subscription. Like my pencils.
And it was
One of those ones that mails you a
was
Kit Kat.
like Japanese. That's why I think it might have been Bento Box, because Team 4-Star had a thing where like you could get a month at a super discounted one if you used a code from them. And I only did the 1 month. I didn't keep the thing up. But the one they sent had like 4 different Kit Kats in it that were all weird flavors. There was a wasabi one. I forget what the other ones were.
Oh yeah, there's definitely like a matcha one.
None of them were very good, but it was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've heard the green tea one is one of the best.
Matcha ones, pretty good. Good stuff.
Yeah, I saw like a bunch of them when we were in Japan and went to the Lawsons and the 7-Elevens, the like kombis there, like just crazy. Like absolutely. I'm sure everyone has heard this before, but it's like convenience stores in Japan are just like a whole nother level. Like getting onigiri.
Like Buc-ee's.
Yeah, no, it's like it's insane. You can get like onigiri for like $2. You can get like a straight up like Japanese curry meal for like $5. Is let alone like all sorts. I mean, yeah, it's just it's like everything that we have associated with 7-Eleven in the States is like so different than what a 7-Eleven is like over there. Yeah, there isn't just like new metal while somebody wishes for a swift death as like the taquitos spin their 6,000th and 86th spin in their own sad grease, which is like what my own American 7-Eleven experiences have been. But yeah, wasabi Kit Kats sound gross.
No, those ones, they were not good.
I'd still try it.
Oh yeah, no, I'm happy I tried it. It just wasn't good.
Everything you need to know about wasabi Kit Kats. Wow, it like looks horrible too. The packaging on it that shows a wasabi root without like showing that it is not what your Kit Kat looks like at the same time is just
a bold choice to go straight for the root.
I know.
Yeah,
like, this is not what you recognize as wasabi, but still.
I can't remember who says it. It's not.
It's Jack.
Not Matthew Fox.
Chair. It isn't Jack.
Yeah, it's Jack. Old bearded, not doing so great, Jack.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just the worst he's ever looked in that one scene.
While we're on the topic of spoilers, that's also not Penny's boat. So brace yourself for that one.
Right in the feels. We come off a sad episode, and then we gotta.
And we're gonna
Charlie.
make you feel sadder.
Michael Emerson's fantastic.
Yes.
Well,
This is now a Michael Umberson fan cast. What else is
Oh my
he in?
gosh, have you guys seen Person of Interest? He's so good.
Oh yeah, he was great in that as a Finch or whatever.
Yep, old Harold.
I don't get any of these references.
It was a J.J. Abrams like.
Well,
Yeah,
that
I'm trying to remember if that's the
reference
one
to
I'm
Abrams.
thinking of. Is that the one with like the AI that?
Yeah, he's like, this is a
yes.
computer that can predict. It was kind of like Minority Report, but different.
You are being watched.
And
Yes.
also the Marvel blatantly stole it for one of the Captain America movies too. Like the exact same premise
Oh yeah, yeah.
of like this computer can predict who's going to do this.
Oh yeah.
But
Anyway, watch Person of Interest, folks. Jim Caviezel, Michael Emerson.
That's Jesus.
and your friend J.J. Abrams with all of the lens flares that you would expect from that time, because he manages to like lens flare in the middle of the night at stuff. It is incredible.
Moon.
This
He
stars.
lens flares from multiple light sources, like outside during the day.
It's called art, guys.
Oh.
Anyway, this
We're
all
a
has to
little
stay
punked drunk
in.
after the last episode.
Yeah, this is the show now.
No more
We thought
sad
STF was the only
feelings.
show that could pivot every ep, but we're gonna claw back some of that territory.
130 episodes in, this is how we do things now.
Yeah, we're now a person of interest fan pod.
Really explore the space.
Really explode the space.
Oh wait, you did? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we
Okay,
can hear
you're
you.
back.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey,
I'm feeling
awesome.
deeply skeptical because I'm getting no waveforms in my Audacity.
Hmm. You may just
Oh,
need to
when
restart.
Kingsley hit it, she might have also changed the.
Audacity sucks, and I
Yes.
found that if like when I bumped my USB at one point, that was enough for it to be like, I don't know what inputs are, bro. So I just
Yeah.
exported off what I had, restarted Audacity, and it was Gucci. It was fine.
All right, let me do that.
Yeah, like earlier tonight when VoiceMod updated, despite the fact that it updated before I opened Audacity, when I opened Audacity, it had reset and was trying to pull from my regular microphone.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I love how also once you've started the application and you've like it's too late. You can't plug your mic in now. You just gotta
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
shut
well, that's
it
why I
off.
always do everything else before I open it, because I figure like any
Same.
changes I make aren't going to affect it, but it somehow still knows.
okay.
What is plug and play? It's certainly not something that was invented in the 90s.
No. That's why I had
Do
that
we-
nasty open source joke. That was painful to re-listen to.
All right.
So-
I mean, it's still better than
Does,
spending
like-
like $800 or Sony Vega. A scorpion? Does a scorpion have a neck? I should know this. No anatomy.
I
Let's
don't think they
Google it.
have a neck slot.
Yeah. Well, no, I just mean in real
they
life.
have a,
does
do they have a
have a
neck?
neck. They have a head and they have
a- Thorax.
They have a thorax. But on arachnids, it's not called. It's called something different on arachnids. They only have like 2 instead of 3.
Yeah, they only have the 2 segments, and I don't think that
Yeah.
there's really a like distinctive separate thing.
There's a species of spider that has a neck, and it's really creepy looking. It's called an assassin spider. Everybody go Google it.
Hmm.
Horrifying
Sorry.
because it has a neck.
I'm out here Googling, do scorpions have a neck? And the answer is
Oh.
on Scorpion Anatomy from askabiologist.com. Technically, that's considered the cephalothorax.
Yes, I knew there was
Oh,
a
naturally.
different name than thorax because like their head and their first section are combined, and then the second one.
Apparently, the mouth parts are called helicerae.
Oh, pellicerate. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. Pedipalps is the ones past that.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. Pedipalps are the pinchers. Yeah, you're totally
Yeah.
right. And I'm sure there's, because we have so many brilliant brains in our Discord, people just being like, shut up, nerd. I know all the words.
All
of
the
the
spider
scorpion.
words.
I know all
I know
them.
scorpions like my own mother,
Exactly.
who was in the band The Scorpions.
Some of you may have scorpion mothers, and that's okay. Oh my god.
My father, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, once played the king of Scorpions. Thank you.
Well, my uncle is Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, so...
Oh, get over here.
Wasn't that the plot of the new Mortal Kombat movie?
I don't know.
Basically.
I mean, kind of.
A little bit.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
introduced a
little
new character that wasn't in the game, in like his great-grandfather or something with Scorpion.
Yeah. No, I mean that it was better. I mean, as someone that loved the original Mortal Kombat and the horrific sequel,
I own Mortal Kombat Annihilation on VHS somewhere.
I have it on DVD.
Annihilation is such
in
a
the next
terrible movie, but
it's awful, but it's awful in a good way.
Oh yeah, they're both good. I mean, I still like.
I love the original Mortal Kombat. I don't
theme
think that's
music
bad. I
to
think
the
that's a
original
good movie.
On that movie, oh no, yeah, absolutely. But also,
it is
like,
probably one of the best video adaptation movies made.
Yeah, it was solid. No, they got everybody right in that first movie. Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, everybody looked exactly like I expected from the 2D video sprites that like many of us had played on cabinets. Yes, indeed. Oops, all answer. Oh my god. Yeah. We had 47 minutes with questionably 10 to 15 minutes of usable material in here, where we're mostly just handing out magical items.
My buddy in high school did have a UMK3 cabinet in his like garage, and it was just
glorious.
so nice. It's like, oh my goodness.
I wish I had, because I was a Nintendo kid. I didn't have Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. I had Mortal Kombat Trilogy, which was the crappy Nintendo version that only had like half the characters because they didn't have the memory for it, and it was not great.
I used to go to my friend's house to play Mortal Kombat. We wouldn't have that in my house.
The first time I played Mortal Kombat, it had so much blood that I cried, and I had to go home from the sleepover that I was at because I didn't realize they would die, despite the name that explicitly tells you.
Hey, I mean, there's no shame in a 26-year-old man having that
it's true.
reaction.
Yeah, when a 34, 35-year-old man just wants to cry during a sleepover and go home because he thought the K in combat didn't mean actual combat, that's fine. But really, I was like 8, and I seriously bawled my eyes out until I went home. They also played the Splatterhouse game, which like I could not handle. I was just that was a lot. Yeah, no, they were some mean kids. Anyway, we have so much banter for the end of this
all
episode.
of this is saying,
I mean, whoever is at the end of whoever is editing this ep, because I've got the next one, 129, but whoever has 130, it's going to be like the end music and then like 30 minutes of
and then the entire episode.
It's only going to be 25 minutes before the end credits. Just a lot of junk in the
Did they accidentally splice the credits in early? What's going on? What you call it is they finally made a oh wait, no, that wasn't her. That was oh no, they took my raise away, even though I didn't say it out loud. Beverly Cleary was the Beezus books. I almost said, oh yeah, they're making a movie of Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
Oh, it's Judy Blume.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Mortal Enemies, Beverly.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. We'll have to play Kingmaker for the season of the Bloom. That is a very layered joke for anybody that has played both that AP and. Anyway, Are You There, God? It's Me, Brixby.